This is Keith Fraser for SecondsOut TV. I'm here with boxing promoter extraordinaire, Eddie Hearn. Eddie, first time I've actually met you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you, nice to see you.
Eddie, before we go on to the fight, because we're here obviously at the press conference, or we've just seen the press conference end of the Tony Bellew, David Haye 2 fight. You've just signed up your first fighter in the States, I believe, in Daniel Jacobs, and it seems like you're making big moves to dominate the market over there like you are here. How is that going, and how do you see yourself in the next few years across both ponds?
Well, obviously it's a new market for us. We've done very well in the UK, not looking to take that for granted, but it's a new challenge for us in America. It's going to take time. We go and probably do 4 events in 2018 and see where it takes us, but we've got a great fighter in Daniel Jacobs. First show November the 11th in Long Island, Nassau Coliseum, and excited to see it all unfold.
And of course, one of the big fighters in size and of course stature is Anthony Joshua in your stable. And of course, I presume you're going to tell me your future domination of the American market, I guess, will largely, or certainly to a significant degree, be based on how successful Anthony Joshua is in the States. Because a heavyweight is very marketable in the States, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously he's already making waves in the States. I think his last 5 fights now have been on TV there. He's a worldwide star. We will be looking to take him to America at some stage. But this is about moving Anthony to America, but also our fighters as well, and moving into the market. So I'm excited. Anthony's got a big test in front of him on October 28th at the Millennium Stadium, and get the job done there and potentially look for a US fight in 2018.
Now you've got huge number of fighters in your stable now. And I can liken it to my sister-in-law who's got 10 children. Is it possible to give that much love, or to divide up your love, so to speak, to all those fighters in your stable? They probably want, each one probably wants the same amount of attention, am I correct?
Yeah, obviously when you expand the stable and become a little bit more successful, it benefits the fighters, and at the same time, some of them who are perhaps not doing so well might feel like they're not receiving the love. But what they need to know is that we are becoming more powerful in different markets, opening up opportunities for them in America, opportunities in bigger fights in the UK as well. So of course people that aren't necessarily achieving or performing to the highest capabilities might take a seat backwards in the queue. It's just life, and the ones that are performing well or are shining are obviously going to get more attention. So it's a tough one, but I think all in all we're expanding our business so that fighters can benefit really on both sides of the Atlantic.
Is it or is it not good for boxing to have such a huge chunk, and what you're aiming for is a huge chunk of the American market? Is that good for boxing or not? And of course you're going to say yes, but give me a little bit more in-depth answer to that.
Well, I don't know what else you're supposed to do, really. In business, the aim is to expand, to keep, just like in anything in life, keep testing yourself, keep trying to prove yourself. And I feel like we've done that in the UK. Like I said, it doesn't mean that we're going to take our foot off the gas, but what it means is that we're going to make sure that we do test ourselves. We try and open up new markets and give our fighters opportunities, like I said, on both sides of the Atlantic. So I think it's good for boxing. Competition everywhere is good for boxing. Seeing a huge amount of competition now in the UK, which I think has improved the standard of shows and obviously pushing people to make bigger fights. And I think if we can introduce some more competition in America, which again is producing some great fights at the moment. 2017 has been a great year. I think 2018 worldwide can be just as quality.
The question I want to ask you actually is that we've been reading in the last few days that Tony Bellew, your fighter of course, has criticised footballer Rio Ferdinand for wanting to throw his hat in the ring, so to speak. Excuse the pun. It seems that boxing is being used to a certain degree as a bit of a gimmick these days. You've got the Floyd Mayweather fight against Conor McGregor, which was a bit of a circus act. You've got obviously Rio Ferdinand wanting to throw his hat in the ring, etc., etc. We need some fights that really do put boxing a little bit more on the serious map now, wouldn't you say?
I just think there's when any sport becomes sexy, when any time there's money to be made in a sport, you're going to get people who are looking at opportunities to make money in a sport. We do it through fights, and others are doing it through maybe commercial ventures, and footballers turn into boxing and stuff like that. So I just think it's a sign really that boxing is on the up. That obviously the Mayweather-McGregor was a one-off event, but even Rio Ferdinand, if boxing was on the floor and no one was interested in boxing, do you honestly think Rio Ferdinand would say, I want to be a professional boxer? No, it's a commercially backed venture. And I know Rio, I like him, and he's a good athlete. I've no idea what he's doing, whether he's looking at it and saying, I want to be a fighter, I want to test myself, or he's thinking I'm going to make a few quid. Either way, good luck.
Do you fancy promoting him?
No. I've seen him on the pads, and he's probably about as good as me. But I'm too heavy to fight him, unfortunately. But boxing's a serious sport. It's a dangerous sport, and these guys are serious guys. I mean, we've got some cruiserweights who are starting out that if they went in with Rio, I mean, it's a frightening thought. But again, everyone's entitled to give it a go, and if he can go through and pass the examination and the tests from the British Boxing Board of Control, then he deserves the right to try and be a fighter. But at 38, and having never boxed, really, it's not something you just turn to and in my opinion, can operate in safely.
Just lastly, obviously, we're here at the Bellew Hay 2 press conference. It's a very interesting prospect because people are always questioning the last fight that David Hay had a terrible injury. And perhaps because of that injury, like I said to David Hay himself, Tony Bellew may not have actually seen the full force of his punching power. Plus, a wounded animal is a dangerous animal. That surely makes the fight even more interesting and perhaps even closer the next time, surely.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with some of what you said, because I think he did see his power in the early parts of the rounds and he came through that. His body broke down after the 5th round, and that was one of the things we thought might happen, and it could happen in this fight as well. The first fight, people were more sort of thinking that this was, almost like a freak show. This is an easy fight for David Hay. Bellew's moving up, but it's a good grudge match. We'll watch it. Yeah, now it's actually a really good fight. Yeah. And I think when you talk about selling a fight, people say, do you think there's going to be the same animosity? Probably not. They don't really like each other. But I think they have respect now. They've shared the ring for a while. But ultimately, now this is a really good heavyweight fight. One of the best heavyweight fights out there. So we're looking forward to it, and roll on December 17.
Well, I think we're all looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Eddie Hearn. It's a real pleasure having caught up with you.
You too. Cheers.
Cheers.